In this video, I'm going to walk through how to use normal CDF and inverse norm on your calculator. So I'm just going to pick some slides from the PowerPoint presentation and then do those on the calculator. So this is slide number 44 with the U.S. Army women's heights, and this was one that only required a normal CDF. So first we'll start by looking at how to put that into the calculator. For these, I'm going to use this bigger view where you can see both what buttons I'm pushing and a bigger version of the screen so that you can see what all gets typed in. So for this one, we just need normal CDF. I'm going to go into the distribution menu, second vars. This is the same place where the binomes were, but I need the normal CDF. We're never going to use number one. We're never going to use normal PDF, just normal CDF and inverse norm. So I'm going to pick normal CDF, and then I'm going to type in 58, comma, 80. Those are the two values I want to be between. And then I'm going to type in the mean, 63.6, comma, and the standard deviation, 2.5. Close the parentheses and hit enter. And then round to 3 significant digits because this is a probability, so you'd round to 0.987. And for those of you with the newer calculators with these nice stat wizard pop-ups, this is what it'll look like when you choose normal CDF. I'm not going to show this for every example because it's pretty self-explanatory, but you just fill in the same numbers that I've been talking about, go down to paste, hit enter, and then it'll fill in the command on the just like in the last example that I did for you, and then you'll hit enter and everything will be the same other than that. So then let's look at the ones where you need to add or subtract. So this is slide 41 from the PowerPoint with the men's heights for the Beanstalk Club, and so we needed 0.5 minus normal CDF. So when you're going to use the 0.5 and either add or subtract, you can just type it right in. So I'm going to type in the 0.5 and then subtract. Then I'm going to go to the normal CDF. So second vars to get into the distribution menu. Pick the normal CDF, and then I can go ahead and type in the information that I need. So 69, comma, 74, comma, the mean is 69, comma, and the standard deviation is 2.8. The mean always has to go in before the standard deviation, and when you're typing in the two numbers that you want, the 69 and the 74, those always need to be in numerical order. So the smaller number always has to come first on those first two. Alright, so then I'm going to go ahead and hit enter, and if you've got one of the newer versions of this calculator, this may not scroll like this. It may actually just keep on going off screen, but either way, now we see, so 3 significant digits, 0.037, and then this 0 would round up to 1 because of the number next to it, so 0.0371. After we learned about normal CDF, we talked about inverse norm, so let's look at how to do that. So we had, this example was slide 67 with the incomes, and we determined that we needed the area with 15% to the left, and we needed that cutoff. Inverse norm is in that same menu, so second vars. I'm going to go down to inverse norm. This will never have a 0.5 plus or minus with it. We're going to type in 0.15. That always needs to be the amount to the left, and then 24,596, comma, 6256 for the standard deviation. So that's the area to the left, and then the mean and the standard deviation. Close the parentheses, hit enter, and with this one we were rounding to whole numbers, so 18,112. And then after we talked about normal CDF and inverse norm, in the next section we talked about central limit theorem and cases where you have to adjust the standard deviation. So let's look at what it looks like when you put that into the calculator. So this was slide 87 in the section on central limit theorem, and so with this one we needed 0.5 plus normal CDF, and then we had the adjusted standard deviation at the end. I'm going to do this example twice. I've been talking about the newer version of the TI-84 calculator. There actually have been two updates, and one of them, the newest update, are these Stat Wizard pop-ups that I've been showing you, but there was an update before that that just added this pretty math type where the square root bars get longer and the screen scrolls, and I want to do an example with that newer version in case some of you are using that one, just to make sure that you get everything entered correctly. So first I need to type in the 0.5 plus, and then I'm going to go into the distribution menu, so second vars, and get the normal CDF. Okay, and then I need to put in my numbers, so we want the piece between 167 and 172, and again those two numbers always need to be in numerical order, so the smaller one needs to come first. Then I need to type in the mean, which is 172 again. Sometimes you get this repeated number in the middle, sometimes you don't. And then the standard deviation is 29, but then I have to divide that by the square root of 12. So square root is over the x squared button. Second x squared will give you the square root, and then I can go ahead and put in the 12. Now my calculator is one that generates the parentheses automatically with the square root, so I need a parentheses to close the square root. So that one closes the square root, but then I need another one to close the normal CDF. So I end up with two in a row there. One for the square root, one for the normal CDF. And then I'll hit enter, and we're going to round to 3 significant digits, so that'll round up to 0.725. I want to run through that same example just one more time with the newer version of the TI-84 calculator, just so that you can see what that looks like if you have one. So I'm going to type in the 0.5 plus, and I'm going to go into the distribution menu and get the normal CDF, and then type in the 167 and the 172 that I want to be between. And you can already see one of the things that's different on this version is instead of scrolling to the next line, it just starts moving over on the screen. Let's see, mean is 172, and then standard deviation was 29, but we had to divide by the square root of 12. So this is another thing that'll look different. When I put in the square root, there's no parentheses, and you're actually typing under the square root bar. Type in 12, the bar gets longer to go over the whole number, and then to get out of your square root, you actually have to hit the right button. So now I'm out of the square root. Since there's no parentheses, I don't need to put parentheses for the square root. I only have to close the parentheses for the normal CDF. And then hit enter, and should get the same answer. So just in case you have the newer version of the calculator, that's what that would look like.